All right, so this matchup, Sagat obliterates Ken, in my opinion, when it comes to the neutral game. I think Ken has a hard time getting in. I think that he doesn't really have an aerial approach. I think his zoning game gets bodied. His buttons get bodied. Ken just has to kind of go crazy and get in and pray that shit works out. Even then, I'm not really scared because a lot of his buttons are V-reversible. In terms of V-skill, V-trigger, I would use V-skill 1 and V-trigger 1. For sure. That's my thing. That's just my preference. When you play a Ken that uses V-trigger 2, which is like the DP, like tornado shit that sucks you in if you throw a projectile, you just gotta be very careful on how you throw fireballs. But if they use V-trigger 1, you can just go ham with fireballs pretty much all day until they jump, and then you just learn where they want to jump. So whenever I play this matchup, my very first question is, what does he do after fireball block's done? I ask myself, what does he do after he blocks this? Okay, this is a very important question because it's going to tell me the risk reward of this player. So let's say match start. Ready? Round 1, fight. Boom, this happens. Okay, I sit there. Did he take a big risk? If he took an immediate risk right now, that's going to tell me the rest of the match. I don't have to ask any more questions. I already know how he's going to play. If he jumped at the start, he's going to DP when he's near stun. He's going to DP near stun. He's going to DP when he probably has bar. He's probably going to wake up mash. He's not the type to probably play with low risk tolerance. Knowing this, when situations happen like air reset, if I air reset him, I'll just like walk up and walk back out of throw range. Right, so that way he just lets it rip, and it's like whatever. So this is very important. The first 5 seconds of the round, like, does he jump immediately? If I throw a fireball and he jumps right away, that tells me everything I need to know. Then I don't need to throw multiple fireballs against this dude. I just gotta throw one fireball and wait. So all I have to do is this and buffer, and then if he jumps, guess what? I get my DP on the buffer. So we talked about this before with this very simple exercise, right, that you can practice to nullify the twin-headed dragon known as dashing and jumping mind games, right, which only really works against weaker players. More seasoned players, we've labbed this, right? So this is literally all you have to do. Very simple. Very simple. You're just crouching strong, right? And then buffer a Tiger Knee behind it. That's it. Very simple. So I don't have to think about those things. Once I have to start thinking is if he does something like this. Or he just whiff punishes it. Let's just say he whiff punishes it. See, if he does that, then now I'm like, okay. Now he's whiff punishing. So if he's whiff punishing or he's doing it immediately. Now what I'll do is I'll wait. And I whiff punish back. Or I fireball again, right? I'd rather get the whiff punish. You know, you get more damage out of it, right? Instead of just throwing another fireball. But, you know, you have your options. You can do either or. So let's say we get rid of that. Now, when we play the fireball game, you typically just want to find that magic number that we talked about, which is that +9 situation, and just abuse it against Ken. Right around here. See, I could still do this. Alright. Now, what I like to do is I like to negative edge it. So if they keep, you know, no button comes out. You seen how there was no button? If I don't negative edge it, this is what happens. See? And then that's not a good thing. We obviously don't like that. So instead, I like to negative edge because you can't have 2 fireballs on the screen at the same time. So the way you input the negative edge is you simply press a button as such. You press it, and when you do the motion, you just let go of it. It's as simple as that. So when I throw the first fireball, I'll obviously press it, but I still keep my thumb there, or my index or middle finger, whichever one you prefer. And I just do the motion again, and now watch the inputs above my head. You see where I'm pressing the jab? Now watch when I do fireball, right? You don't see a button, but the special still came out. That's because in fighting games, there's the option of negative edging, which is it allows you to input a special on release of the button in combination with the motion. So this is very powerful when you combine this into a fireball trap because now you've mitigated the risk of a unique attack coming out or a heavy attack coming out while you're zoning. So this is why I like to do this. See? And I still threw it. So I didn't have to think about it. Oops. See? Very simple. Boom. Very simple. right? You do that, you'll body this character. Then there are the very character-specific things you gotta be mindful of. When he gets meter, right, you always want to train with this stuff in mind. So let's say we turn this off, we turn this off, we turn this off, we turn this off. So you start the match off, there's no meter, obviously, right? There's no meter. But, of course, as you're this dude up, right, the more you this character up, the closer he gets to that red bar of courage. Shoutouts to Mr. NKB with that coin term. That shit is hilarious. The red bar of courage. Yes, the good old, aka V-Trigger, right? So now, when a character gets V-Trigger, you want to be super mindful of what is the most common activation route. So for Ken, it's going to be low forward fireball or stand heavy kick into V-Trigger, right? So let's save this so we can show visual examples, right? So we got that. Now let's bring this back. Now let's save another one. Now we got, this is another one. Very common, right? Here's another one. These are like the 3 most common. So anytime you play a matchup, you can just do this against any character. Figure out the 3 most common activation routes. That way you can consistently punish them. And there's that. So let's do this again. We got this, which he's plus. We don't want that, obviously. And then you got this, which he's plus 3. So not as plus, but still pretty plus to where you don't want to be in that situation, right? And this, plus 7. Okay, so we got plus 14, plus 3, plus 7 in those 3 situations. So if you see your opponent gets V-triggered, you know Sagat's not really the fastest character. You know his mobility's kind of ass, but he has great neutral control. What you want to do is you want to play in a way where they can kind of hang themselves. So you're like, okay, I can't walk back away from this, right? But I can buffer. You see what I'm saying? But let's say, oh, well, what if he tries to do, you know, what if he tries to do that, right? Whiff punish it. Or, if you're feeling very bold, you can stand jab. This beats it pretty consistently, to be honest. Stand light kick is risky because it can whiff, and you can get whiff punished. But stand jab is pretty godlike against this. Alright? But you can just simply fireball if you think he's going to try to walk up and stand heavy kick you, too. Okay? And then eventually he gets frustrated, and he forgets the V-trigger strategy. And he's like, F this shit, I'm jumping. And you DP him. Alright? But don't be afraid to make mistakes. And now this is the other thing. Right? You can walk up. Oh, okay, Sagat. That's what's up. You know, you can walk up. You can whiff punish him. Poke him. You know? Do that. Right? You can, do that. You can also Tiger Knee, which is my favorite one. I don't know how that didn't combo, but there you go. You have your options. You want to always be able to nullify the routes into V-trigger. But at the same time, remember this. This is very, very important. Very important for your mind. Keep this in mind. It's okay if they activate. It's not the end of the world. All right? And you don't always have to go about punishing and stopping their activations. But it's just nice to have that as an option. You know what I'm saying?